The attention in Tiger Town turns from football to basketball here at Littlejohn Coliseum on a Sunday afternoon for ACC College Hoops. The matchup, Lipscomb University out of the ASUN Conference makes a visit to Clemson, South Carolina to take on the 9-3 Tigers. It is so great to have you with us for our game this afternoon. Tom Wormy along with the All-American from Duke, Mike Jaminski. And Mike, this is a very important game for the Tigers, facing a quality opponent, their last game before conference play, and they start conference play with trips to Duke and Syracuse.
And they're getting healthy at the right time too, Tom, and kind of getting everybody back together again. And I think the Christmas break was good for this team.
Time for the Hardies start a watch, and for the Clemson Tigers, it's Marquise Reed. Now, this is his second game back, Mike, after missing 3 games with a knee injury.
Yeah, and this is one of the guys who's going to be critical for them in ACC play. You see coming off the bench, 20 points, a great game and a win against South Carolina, and really does it all for this ball club, and he seems to be hitting his stride.
Yeah, the Tigers have now won 3 in a row against their rivals from the Palmetto State. To the other side in Lipscomb, Mike, and this is a quality team. They lead the ASUN in scoring. They're the defending champs in that league, and this is their second ACC opponent, a close loss to Louisville earlier this year.
Yeah, we're going to see some highlights against Louisville, and their point guard, Kenny Cooper, makes things go for them offensively, defensively, out in the open floor. Garrison Matthews was in a little bit of a rough stretch during this time, but now he's on fire. He can score at 3 different levels. And then you've got Rob Marbury inside, who can block shots, also can post up as well. And we'll take a look at their numbers. These guys are all upperclassmen. They're all experienced. This is going to be a tough test for the Tigers.
And last year, this Lipscomb program made its first ever trip to the NCAA tournament. They are in Tiger Town today. It is the Bisons and the Tigers. ACC College Hoops from Littlejohn Coliseum in Clemson, South Carolina is straight ahead. Back to Clemson, South Carolina for ACC College Hoops. Tom Wormy, Mike Jaminski, and our outstanding ACC production crew. And just a moment ago, head coach Brad Brownell presenting Shelton Mitchell with the commemorative basketball for going past 1,000 career points that happened on December 18th in a game against Charleston Southern. So Shelton Mitchell, the senior from Waxhaw, North Carolina, honored prior to our game. Here are the starting lineups. And for the Bisons on the left, Garrison Matthews, 3rd in the conference, almost 18 points per game. He was the MVP of the ASUN tournament a season ago. And Elijah Thomas, leading rebounder for the Clemson Tigers at 6'9", and a senior from Dallas, Texas. Casey Alexander is the 6th-year head coach for this Lipscomb program. Took him to the NCAA tournament a season ago for the first time in school history. And Brad Brownell took the Tigers to the Sweet 16 last year. Clemson in the white, Lipscomb in the purple, and the Bisons have the ball to start.
Yeah, it's funny, Tom. I'm talking to Coach Brownell before the game. He said that this Lipscomb team reminds him of his teams at UNC Wilmington. Very tough, used to winning, maybe a little undersized up front, but this is a formidable group. They gave Louisville all they could handle.
Coach Brownell from 02 to 06, the head coach at UNC Wilmington. Side of the rim on the first attempt for the Bisons, and here's Marquise Reed. At 20 points in his return. The most recent game was over a week ago. That was on the road at South Carolina on December 22nd for the Tigers, in a win by 10, 78-68. Reed let the defender go on by, but did not get the bounce.
Yeah, and they just, they're just now kind of hitting their stride. They had Thomas down with an injury early in the season, and then, Reed goes down, but Brad feels like this now his group, the Christmas break, good for them, and finally hitting their stride at the right time.
There's a runner in the lane and a foul on the drive by Michael Buckland. So Reed has picked up his first personal.
At the line to shoot 2 is Michael Buckland.
Take a look at our forward keys to the game with Mike Jaminski.
Yeah, I think if you're Lipscomb, they want to have disciplined possessions. They don't want to get rushed into a bad shot. They're going to run the shot clock down and take what's there for them, try to get to the free throw line. And for Clemson, be physical. That's where Louisville had success with them on the offensive glass.
Buckland, a junior from High Point, North Carolina, 71% of the season from the stripe for the Bisons. Skara in the corner. In traffic for Thomas, and he's off the mark.
I think that's a shot they love for Thomas to settle for. That fadeaway hook shot didn't put any pressure on anybody to defend.
A little fall away from Marbury. Scooped up by Sims.
Conversely, that's probably a good shot for him. Although you do want to try to get Thomas in foul trouble.
A little bit closer this time. Second effort, Thomas. It won't fall, but he'll earn free throws for the Tigers.
He missed a good 3 weeks before the season, in the beginning of the season with that ankle injury, and really improved last year, doing a much better job, Tom, staying on the floor, had gotten into foul trouble early in his career, but that's gotten better.
%70 from the line on the season, despite the miss from Elijah Thomas.
Look at him. I mean, it's 14 points, 8 rebounds, the size that he's gotten, and those numbers on only 25 minutes a game, so pretty impressive.
11 starts on the season for Thomas, who had 11 points in the win at South Carolina and was 7 of 11 from the free throw line against the Gamecocks in the winning effort. Foul called on the drive by Kenny Cooper. Mitchell has picked up his first personal. Jamie Luckey, Les Jones, and Bill Covington Jr. officiating our game this afternoon from Clemson, South Carolina.
Yeah, that's what they'll do. The Bisons they spread you out, really good spacing. They gave Cooper a big lane to drive in. Both teams struggling here early from the free throw line. Brad Brownell congratulated him on his 6-year extension. So a little job security for him.
Through the 2024 season for Coach Brownell in his 9th year on the Clemson bench. What a season a year ago for the Tigers, Mike. 25-10, 11-7 in conference play.
School record, ties the school record for wins, and that runs to the Sweet 16 as well.
Lost to Kansas in the Sweet 16 after wins against New Mexico State and Auburn at the NCAA tournament. This is Cooper.
Nice rush up the floor that time. Not great transition defense by Clemson. And we should add that last year did that without their best player, Dante Grantham, going down to an injury midway through the year.
Ended his season, but the Tigers made it all the way to the NCAA tournament. They will take that jumper.
Clyde Trapp, not known as a three-point shooter, but they trailed him on that high screen and gave him a good look.
First field goal of the game for the Tigers, racing right back to the rim, and it's Clyde Trapp on the drive.
That's already to his average, giving them an offensive lift here early.
Trying to go low, knocked away by Thomas and taken by Trapp. Lipscomb player took a tumble, and that was Marbury in the lane and a foul against the Tigers.
Yeah, that was against Thomas, too, and that's one that you can't afford to pick up.
Tigers' third team foul.
There's that offense to defense, good rush up the floor that time. Nobody stopping the basketball. Took a look around just to see what his situation is. Didn't really have numbers, but nobody really sealed off the lane. I think they're going to try to see if there was any high contact here.
Jamie Luckey and Bill Covington Jr. to the scorer's table to review that previous play. The foul again was on Elijah Thomas and his first. Trapp has 4 points, leads everybody in the early going. And that's almost on his average for the season, Mike. 6.6 for Clyde Trapp. So again, it was Marbury, 0 in purple, who took the tumble as he got tangled up with Thomas.
Well, and that's, anytime you get that elbow up around the neck area, and he really something he didn't need to do. He was in good position anyway to catch the basketball, but just started flailing around. It may give him a flagrant one on this,
which would be excessive contact, head or neck area.
There's the look right there, right in the jaw.
There doesn't appear to be any intention from Thomas, but the contact was made.
I guess it decided that there wasn't enough there, so it's just going to be a common foul.
So the Bisons have the basketball, but trail by 1. Early part of the first half here in Clemson, South Carolina, as Tigertown is celebrating another trip to the national championship game as the football team came through at the Cotton Bowl yesterday in Dallas, Texas, 30-3. A dominating performance against Notre Dame, which in basically every other sport, Mike, is part of the ACC. Take on the Crimson Tide. Third time those teams have met in the national championship game. Back to 2016, the Tigers won the national title. Big-time contact, and it's going to go against Lipscomb.
Yeah, Scar doing a nice job of stepping in. One of their best perimeter and most versatile perimeter defenders. Guessing correctly on that right-hand drive. Good job defensively. Give a shout-out to our good friend Tim Beret, who's had been a fixture here in Clemson for a long time before retiring, but also went to Notre Dame, so must have been torn a little bit. Happy with the outcome either way.
Coach Sweeney and the team returning to Clemson, South Carolina earlier today. We'll keep an eye open in case anybody trickles into the building. But the focus right now, Marquise Reed on a runner, Mike. He's going old school for 2.
Yeah, and it's good to see, because sometimes you come back from an injury like that, and you got to test it a little bit, and didn't show any ill effects of the knee injury there. They thought it was a lot worse. They were fearing that something was torn in there, and just turned out to be a sprain. Here's the look coming in, and this is in place of Thomas. White coming over and erasing the shot.
First foul on Javen White, graduate student from Ames, Iowa. Eli Pepper at the free throw line, the senior from Princeton, Kentucky, 79% from the line on the season, 1 of 2. They are the best free throw shooting team in the A-Sun at 77% for the Bisons this season. Out of the corner, trapped.
And this is one thing you see Reed complaining a little bit to the officials, but this is a very physical Lipscomb team defensively. They really get into you, and there'll be a lot of banging, even though they may not have the size.
Taken by Scara. Swoops in, can't get the angle. Ball bounces around and taken by the Bison, and it's right to our broadcast position. Good hands from Mike Jaminski to protect us over here. And Karen Blackman, our statistician. Reed, little bit of daylight, falling away, and it's all net. Tigers by 2. Bisons and the Clemson Tigers, their first ever meeting. We want to wish everyone a happy new year. Hope you had a great holiday, and thanks for joining us for ACC College Hoops. Now time to take a look at our startup. It's brought to you by the Honda dealers of the Carolinas, as Lipscomb was part of the NCAA tournament a season ago.
Well, actually, they beat Florida Gulf Coast on their home floor to get that bid, so an impressive move through the ASUN tournament. Right now, Casey Alexander's got to be unhappy with his top 5 turnovers, only 4 field goal attempts so far in this game, and they're fortunate only to be down 2.
Yeah, just 1 for 4 from three-point distance so far for the Bisons. Trap as the clock goes inside of 10. Reed in rhythm. Long rebound to the corner and taken by Lipscomb, which defeated Florida Gulf Coast in that championship game that Mike referenced, 108-96. after beating Stetson and Jacksonville, both of those home games for Lipscomb in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, in that league, the championship game is played at the highest seeded team's home arena. So no neutral site there.
There's Reed, tees it up from a similar spot, Mike, and makes no mistake for three.
That's, I'll tell you what, great sign for Brad Brownell. And, he felt like he had a good 3 days of practice coming into this game.
A strong drive from Pepper, trying to interrupt a 9-1 run by the Tigers, and a foul is called.
Yeah, you see, this is a really good a good look at the three. Lipscomb getting late back in transition. Reed not a great three-point shooter at 28%.
Last season when Lipscomb was in the NCAA tournament, they played just down the road in Charlotte, North Carolina, and had to take on the defending national champs in the North Carolina Tar Heels and lost 84-66. Coach Alexander is approaching 100 wins in Nashville.
He's been there a long time, assistant at Belmont under Rick Beard, one of those great coaches that nobody knows about. Some pretty good mid-major schools in Nashville.
Yeah, 16 years as an assistant for Corey Alexander at Belmont. Out of the corner for three. And it's Trapp again. He's got 7 points and leads everybody with those 7. Largest lead of the first half right now for the Tigers. Lipscomb does not have a field goal in the last 3 minutes, now almost 4 minutes to that most recent miss.
And Clemson really doing a nice job of locking down on Matthews. That was only his second field goal attempt of the game, so they're not even giving him touches.
Reed.
He's a young man that can get down himself a little bit too if he doesn't, get off quickly offensively. But Reed here showing that he's back and in good health.
He's got 7 points. That one tapped away but recovered. Reed, who averages just over 19 points per game to lead the way for the Tigers and third best in the ACC.
He and Trapp combined have 14 of the 15 points for the Tigers.
Marbury with the bucket for the Bisons, which according to the Oxford Dictionary is an acceptable pronunciation and plural of bison.
And this is Marbury's probably their best and most reliable low post player. You see the pump fake. Looks like Kevin McHale a little bit on that action inside.
As far as experienced scorers are concerned, no team in the country compares to Lipscomb. If you add up the career totals of the entire roster, they are over 7,000 points, and there's Marbury going strong to the rim.
Right. Again, you see the spacing plays a role in that. 4 guys spread around the outside, and just a beautiful spin move toward the baseline.
He's got 4 now, averages over 16 per game. That shot is good. Shelton Mitchell, his first field goal.
Now 1,002 points on the year.
Keep the toe board rolling.
Go over and change the ball a little bit. Add some numbers there.
It was just 1 of 5 from three-point distance in the win against South Carolina. That one was deflected.
Nice active hands by Reed outside.
Reed, 3 feet behind the line. Might have grazed that rim. There's a timeout on the court. Marbury makes his move and beats the defender. Tigers still maintain that 6-point lead about midway through the first half. Marquise Reed has poured in 7 points so far, G-Man, 3 of 6 from the floor.
Yeah, and it's, he came off the bench against South Carolina, just Brad Brownell easing him back in, but getting his traditional starting lineup here and got off, pretty quickly. He's found a nice rhythm for himself. And there you see with the ACC and non-conference Two Duke freshmen at the top of the list, but Marquise Reed right there.
And that will be the next game, Saturday, January 5th at Duke to start conference play for the Tigers, who have not won in Durham since 1995. Turnover by Lipscomb to the rim, and the hammer, John Newman.
And that was just a fast break. The first pass to the fast break, you throw it out toward the midcourt line and don't complete it, and then another turnover.
Skara to the rim. Skara is fouled, and the chance at the three-point play.
Already the 10th turnover, Tom. And we're not even halfway through the first half for Lipscomb. This is, we talked about Skara, maybe their most versatile perimeter defender, can probably guard 3 or 4 positions. But it's also where those turnovers, the last two, both leading directly to layups. In this case, a three-point play.
Tigers have made 6 of their last 7 shots. That last foul was on Andrew Fleming, number 15 in purple and gold.
And came over to get the play while he's going to the floor, and Casey Alexander says, just hold on to the basketball, please.
Skara knocks that one away. He's got eyes for the rim. Skara! Chance at back-to-back three-point plays.
There's going to be wholesale substitutions for the Bisons. They're going to get 4 new guys on the floor, and Casey Alexander not happy, but Skara, he was a guy, and we talked to Brad Brownell about, who they might not have had back this summer, and Skara was the one that was the biggest question mark and probably the biggest surprise. He was going to go back to Croatia and start making some money and playing ball over there, but then had second thoughts. Brad thought he was a little homesick, and he said, Coach, do you have an open scholarship? And they were looking for somebody to fill it, had it, accepted him back, and what a huge addition.
Skara now with 6 points on the back-to-back three-point plays. 10 turnovers in the first half for Lipscomb, and 15 points off of those turnovers for the Clemson Tigers. You saw Reed come out of the game. He's got 7 points. Deflected the trap. Another turnover. It's now 11. Thomas.
I think if Stickham were legal at the next time out, that Casey Alexander he'd be lathering everyone up.
They'll go into the corner. Buckland for 3. Skara squares up the rebound.
Only the 8th field goal attempt of the game because of all those turnovers.
Thomas in a congested area, had to take it away as his shot was deflected.
Maybe forced that a little bit. And a lot of times you force a shot like that, and Brad Brownell not happy with it. That ball should have been passed out. And but instead, in a rare opportunity in this game, Lipscomb gets to score in transition.
It was Buckland on the drive and layup for the Bisons.
There's that look. I mean, you have to understand, not try to force things inside. But really good job. We talked about Kenny Cooper and how he runs this program, but a good look ahead and a nice run out by Buckland.
Tigers coming off of that win December 22nd at South Carolina. They shot 61% of the first half of that game and 57% for the game, and defended well also, Mike. The Gamecocks shot just 37%.
And Frank Martin has a Final Four to his, to his credit. The Clemson Tigers have owned that rivalry, having won the last 3.
In fact, the Tigers are 8-1 in their last 9 games against the SEC. Clemson's won 4 of its last 5 games and 21 of their last 23 here at Littlejohn Coliseum.
One of the ones that got away from them this year was the Nebraska game. And you talk to the coaches and it's the game we should have won. It was a 2-point game, one that they, really kind of let slip away.
Strong move. Thomas, second effort. Can't get it to fall. A lot of effort, nothing to show for it. That'll be an offensive foul. Driving Kenny Cooper.
And Cooper may have tried to, in an effort to make things happen, and you have to recognize when you don't have numbers. And Trapp doing a nice job, again, anticipating where he was going to drive, accepted the contact on his chest. And, when you're a point guard, you see more of the opponent's colored jerseys. You got to wait for some friends. He would have been better off just pulling that one out. But I think in an effort to try to get something going offensively, forced it a little bit.
11 turnovers for the Bisons, who averaged 12.5 per game. Already almost at that figure in the first half. That's deflected away and taken by Jones.
So they're going to have to be almost perfect for the rest of the game.
No look to Buckland. Thomas got back to knock it away and block the shot. Mitchell, wicked crossover. Can't finish it off. There's Thomas underneath, who had been 0 for 4 before that basket.
Well, and a nice end-to-end play by Thomas. Makes the effort to sprint back, gets the block, then hustles down the other end of the floor, anticipates the shot, and gets rewarded with the points. That's a play arguably 2 years ago that he couldn't have made, just because he wasn't in shape enough. And beautiful block right there, and then immediately turns around and runs down the other end of the floor. But terrific defensive rundown from behind.
Fantastic view from right behind the backboard. Thomas had missed his first 5 shot attempts before converting at the other end. So Matthews at the free throw line. Matthews with his first point of the game as Marbury's coming back in. 4 points for Marbury back into the lineup. Garrison Matthews, the senior who shoots 91% from the free throw line. What you just saw is a rarity. Best in the A-Sun. He's now made 52 of 58 free throw attempts. Wiener. Missed shot from Mitchell. Matthews bumped at center court by Mitchell.
Foul is on Shelton Mitchell. That's his
second foul against Mitchell.
See, this is where, again, I think this is where Matthews maybe down on himself a little bit, but this is where he can get some rhythm, getting to the free throw line, critical one-on-one. And, for Casey Alexander, you just have to try to take these next segment of 4 minutes and nibble away at this lead, get it under double figures.
Into the bonus for the Bisons. Their most recent game was December 21st before the holiday break. They beat Vermont 91-66 and shot 58% in that ballgame.
Both of these teams, a similar situation where they had some time off over the holiday break and regathered on the 26th, had 3 days of practice and an effort to get ready for this game.
Matthews led the team in that victory against Vermont with 22 points. Whistle from underneath, and that's going to go against Lipscomb and Marbury.
Yeah, he's just, they're really trying to set up Thomas and try to get him the ball inside. Here's the look. They've cleared out, and that time Thomas a better job keeping his arms straight up. Remember, we got called for that common foul where he got his elbow up into Marbury's chest.
Thomas will try again and earn some free throws. Determination from number 14 in white, Elijah Thomas, and Peppers picked up his first for Lipscomb.
Yep, they have to get better production, a more consistent production. 1 of 7 so far. He's had opportunities in this game that he hasn't converted.
He came into this game at 71% from the floor for Elijah Thomas, best in the conference, Mike.
Well, and that was a huge jump from where he was when he first came into this program. He was career 50% free throw shooter, so that's a marked improvement. You don't often see that big of a jump.
It's all the work in the gym when no one's watching, and Thomas is coming out. Scara coming in. 5 points for Elijah Thomas to the bench.
And obviously a loss in size out on the floor now, a smaller Clemson team.
Matthews trying to create some space. Got it up on the square, but no good. And defending from Trapp caused the miss.
That was a matchup that he should have taken advantage of.
So Trapp coming up short with that attempt, but it's a healthy lead for the Tigers against the visiting Bisons here at Littlejohn Coliseum.
The Clemson Alumni Association Bank of America.
ACC College Hoops is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina. Be bold, be confident, live fearless, North Carolina. CPI Security, the official security partner of the ACC, and your local Ford dealer.
This the scene yesterday at Tiger Town Tavern in downtown Clemson, South Carolina, celebrating the second TD. 3 TD passes from the freshman quarterback Trevor Lawrence. And they can do that. Clemson chant 30-3 over Notre Dame to earn a spot in next Monday's title game in Santa Clara, California against Alabama.
And our intrepid producer Eric Kendall going out and providing that video, risking life and limb. And I wonder if Tiger Town Tavern, I wonder if they went for the free beers for everybody or if they went for the cash.
That goes out of bounds off of Lipscomb to the Tigers. That's a 13th turnover of the first half.
You know, it's funny, and I think the way it's constructed is now for the fan base, you almost have to make a decision. And I think there were a lot of Clemson football fans that felt like, you know, they had a good shot against Notre Dame. Might as well spend our travel money on going out to see you and probably at Alabama. But, you know, you got to make a choice. You're very fortunate if you can go to both.
Trip to Dallas and then off to California next Monday. Won the national title in 2016. Beat Alabama 35-31 in Tampa, Florida. As the Bisons get a bucket from Matt Rose. It's his first hoop.
It's one of the best offensive possessions they've had in the half court.
Tigers, Mike, are just one of their last 9 field goal attempts as we go inside of 6.5 minutes of the first half. Reed with the dribbling clinic got in trouble through the hands of Skara. Skara cut off Matthews, but then fouled him. First on Skara.
Tigers 19 foul.
Bonus, one away from the double bonus, but do you see Skara getting, you know, drawing the assignment to Matthews, their best scorer in the game.
Pepper comes out for Lipscomb.
Sense a little bit that Clemson got a little bit complacent with how this game started, and now the Bisons, I mean, cut it down to 9 points with 6 minutes to go. There's still a lot of time to get this game back in hand.
Elijah Thomas is back in the lineup, 5 points, but just 1 of 7 from the floor.
And this is the one area where Lipscomb has, you know, outplayed Clemson at the free throw lines, staying in this game.
9 of 13 from the line for the Bisons. And we can add one more from the best free throw shooter in all of the A-Sun.
Let's see if those 4 free throws that he's made in a row now are helping him a little bit on his perimeter shooting.
So Matthews up to 5 points. They're all from the free throw line. In traffic, Thomas back iron, but free throws forthcoming.
Well, and Buckland really just bailed him out that time. I don't know that Brad Brownell wants Thomas putting the ball on the floor that far from the basket, and that was going to be a tough shot to make.
First foul on Buckland. Elijah Thomas, the top rebounder on this Clemson roster. Just over 7.5 boards per game. 3rd year in the program and a transfer from Texas A&M. The Form looks pretty good, Mike. He's done a lot of work from the free throw line, as you documented.
And I think there was some question marks about him, middle of the season, but he made it clear to Brad Brownell that he was definitely coming back, that there was no question about that.
First Clemson player ever from the state of Texas, and Elijah Thomas looking good from the free throw line. 7 points now in total for Thomas. He also has 5 rebounds in the first half. That pass will go out of bounds in the corner.
Moran thought he was going to get a little back cut from Rose, so a miscommunication between a quarterback and a receiver.
Back in for the Bison, number 21, Kenny Cooper.
No miscommunication for the Tigers yesterday in the Cotton Bowl. And look at the turnovers. 14 already above their season average for an entire game. Has a lot to do with the defending and active hands of the Clemson Tigers on the defensive end. Reed found Skara in the corner. Reed tapped it to Skara. Fresh shot clock. Newman thought about the shot. Now Thomas. Difficult shot. High degree of difficulty. And he can celebrate basket and foul.
This may be the toughest shot, and he might have gotten away with the hook there on the play. You see that little ram right there. That could have easily been called, but that was a very difficult finish between two defenders.
Hassan Asajula picked up the foul for the Bisons. 9 points for Elijah Thomas despite the miss at the free throw line. Easily the most difficult shot he's attempted all game and was able to spin that one in somehow. Shown a lot of persistence on the interior. Shot clock inside of 10. Matthews turned into the double team, got away from it, and it drops for Garrison Matthews.
Well, they were trying to get Asajula inside. They had a little bit of a mismatch to him. Couldn't get it to go. Then you see they get kind of bunched up right there, and I don't know how Matthews got that one up on the rim, but he's shown a lot more confidence in his offense in the last 6 minutes.
It's his first made field goal of the game. Clyde Trapp picked up the foul. That's now 8 points and 6 of 7 from the free throw line for Garrison Matthews, the senior from Franklin, Tennessee. Mike, he had 85 points in 3 games at the ASUN tournament last year and was the MVP of that event. Won by the Bisons. Out of the corner, it's a 3. Thank you very much, John Newman. Hello, Newman for 3.
How did I know that was coming?
Matthews misses from long distance at the other end, out of bounds. In the aftermath, and the ball back to the Tigers.
You were just hoping the defender's first name was Jerry.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Mike. Newman for Coach Brownell. Second most wins in school history for Coach Brad Brownell in his 9th year and 17th overall. Long range. Reed's got it for 3.
Got caught going under the screen. Hadn't heard from Reed since early in the first half.
10 points now for Reed. Double figures 9 times this season. And remember, he missed 3 games with a knee injury.
Well, here's the look, and there's Neiman from the corner. Sweet left-handed shot. Clemson up 16.
Back in Clemson, South Carolina, Memorial Stadium, Death Valley. Perfect season this year for the Tigers. I was fortunate enough to call the season opening game against the Furman Paladins in nearby Greenville, South Carolina, and then they just rolled from there. They touch Howard Brock on the way down the hill. They are on their way to Santa Clara, California to play for a national championship next Monday.
Well, you're looking at John Newman, and his number really stands out. 15. I don't think I've ever seen this stat, Tom. 15 turnovers for Lipscomb, 1 assist. I've never seen a ratio like that, you know.
And you've been around the game for a while, Mike Jaminsky. I say that in the best possible way.
They're heading for 30 turnovers in this game.
Mike Jaminsky, the 1979 ACC Player of the Year, 3-time All-ACC, All-American, and the Rookie of the Year in the ACC back in 1977. But you've got memories from this building, Mike, right?
Co-rookie with Hawkeye Whitney. Give props to Hawkeye.
Mike was spinning some yarns about Littlejohn Coliseum.
Yeah, it looked a little bit different than it did now. Dan Radakovich has done a great job in renovating Littlejohn.
To the tune of about $63.5 million renovated prior to the 2016 season.
Just to see where the league has come from, Tom. When I was a freshman, 17s. The regular season winner got a bye into the semifinals of the ACC tournament.
Not anymore, Mike.
I have 7 teams playing on Tuesday. The 16 playing on Tuesday.
2 days of 4 games apiece.
Yeah.
And the championship will be right down the road where Mike and I call home. Charlotte, North Carolina, the Queen City. Metro Charlotte. It goes out of bounds, Tiger ball.
I think we'll get per diem for the tournament.
We're going to have to ask our executive producer on that one, Rob Reichley.
There's the look, and tough block with the left hand, too.
Elijah Thomas, an
all-defensive player last year in the ACC.
Solid first half for Thomas. This is Reed. Free throw line vicinity for 2.
A lot of that was Thomas, who set a massive screen for Reed. Instead of settling for the jump shot, a little curl and pull up. Nice use of the screen.
12 points in the first half for Marquise Reed. 2:42 to go in the half, and that is Matthews.
Finally found his confidence in his shooting range.
Three-pointer from Matthews, who shoots 39% of the season from three-point distance. He's got 8 points.
This is a game, Tom, it's hard, if you're a home team in Clemson, there's not a lot of energy in the building, a little bit of a hangover from last night and that win. Not the usual crowd. The students aren't here. So this is a game you have to provide your own energy for and rely on your upperclassmen and Reed bringing that to them.
The senior from Landover, Maryland, now with 14 points. And he leads everybody at that figure. He'll run the break. Go to his left. The layup is good. Trap.
And this game looked 3 minutes ago like it was teetering on being a little bit closer, but credit the Tigers for a nice little run here to stretch it out.
Up by 20 and their largest lead. They've made all 6 of their last 6 field goal attempts. Thomas defending against Marbury.
Nice job of keeping his feet that time and getting his body into the player. Oh, even the crowd was a little low on that one. Thomas had not taken a 3 this year. But here's the look. Again, since where all these turnovers had taken place, and Clemson has done a terrific job of converting.
Mike, that was just his second three-point attempt of his career. He had been 0 for 1 prior to that.
And there may not be a third.
Wow.
Coach Brownell may have a conversation with him after the game.
Marbury up and under.
In that size, I mean, he's going to be a fact. This team is going to be a factor in the ASUN this year. They're very tough. This game is not reflective of so far of how they play.
Well, they've made that tournament's semifinals on 4 straight occasions, including a championship last year and the win against Florida Gulf Coast. on its home floor. Reed has picked up his second personal foul. He'll step aside for a moment with his 14 points, 6 of 9 from the floor, and a couple of three-pointers to his credit for Marquise Reed. Hunter Tyson is into the ballgame. He's seen action in every game this season as a freshman on the Clemson roster. Thomas holds his ground and has the board. 49% as a team in the first half for the Tigers. And now just 22 seconds to go in our first half of play.
You could see that Casey Alexander in the lower part of your screen really working. He's in Jamie Lucky's ear wanting to call on that play.
Newman's entry pass is too far for Thomas. One last chance for the Bisons. Matthews spotting up for three. And Newman pulls in the rebound. 20 minutes complete from Littlejohn Coliseum. And Marquise Reed led the way with 14 points. Elijah Thomas into double digits as well with 10 and 7 rebounds. Halftime straight ahead from Clemson, South Carolina, as the Tigers build a 46-28 halftime lead. Back on ACC College Hoops in just a moment. ACC College Hoops continues from Clemson, South Carolina, to Littlejohn Coliseum, home of Tiger basketball since 1968. A 17-point halftime advantage for the Tigers, who led by as many as 20 in the first half and shot close to 49%, G-Man, in that first half and built the 17-point lead. Yeah,
the turnovers, on the road, you can't overcome that. And that statistic still boggles my mind. 1 assist, 16 turnovers for the Bison so far, 20 points off of those turnovers. That's almost half of Clemson's offense right there, just handed to them.
And again, the Bisons average only 12.5 turnovers per game and have 16 in the first half. Tigers are perfect also with that halftime lead, 8-0. Now time for Protecting the Paint, brought to you by CPI Security.
Yeah, and some of them just almost look like a lack of concentration. This is good. Scar is such a good perimeter defender. His hands are always active, early fouls. See a couple steals right there, and he has drawn Garrison Matthews and held him down until late in that first half. But there's the guy who got them off early. It was Reed and Trapp that really got things rolling for this group. And then Thomas started to knock down some shots inside.
14 points to lead all scorers for Marquise Reed, the third best scorer in all of the ACC.
And you see that knee brace coming off of that sprained MCL. He missed 3 games, came back off the bench against South Carolina, got into form there, scoring 20 points, and it's carried over to this game, which I'm sure makes Brad Brownell extremely happy with the ACC opener on the horizon. 2 games on the road, starting at Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Yeah, Reed, who played 30 minutes in that game against South Carolina, was 7 of 12 from the floor.
See, I always take issue or laugh when, guys get all bent out of shape about not starting. It's really more about minutes, and are you in there at the end of the game when it's important and the game's on the end of the line, or on the line. Well, let's see if the Bisons can just come out and execute and get a shot. I'm not talking about making shots at this point. I'm just talking about not turning the ball over.
Tigers made 6 of their last 7 field goals on the way to the halftime break. As we get it rolling in the second half, Tom Wormy, Mike Jaminski, and our outstanding ACC College Hoops production crew knocked away and taken by Matthews.
Yeah, nice job by Cooper that time to get a hand up. They were trying to roll Thomas back into the middle of the lane, but he got a good deflection.
Matthews was the only Bison's player to get to double digits in the first half with 10 points. Played down on the block and a whistle. Looks like a foul coming up against the Tigers.
Sims going to be called for that foul with 2 hands in the back.
First on Amir Sims, the sophomore. Matthews had it rejected from Thomas. He'll run an odd man break. Threading the pass is Reed, and Thomas has the jam.
Second time we've seen that, and it's always a great thing when the block shot, when you can keep it in and your team can corral it, and he took off on a dead sprint.
Elijah Thomas goes 6'9", 245, and he could move, but could not defend Marbury in the paint.
Marbury's pretty crafty. He's got, he's good with either hand, gets good position. And Thomas playing behind him, so he's letting him catch.
Mitchell misses the 3. That was Sims who got tangled up and hit the deck underneath, and there will be a foul against Lipscomb.
Here's a look, and he comes in second man right there, and then you see the break up the floor, and what you don't see is on the other side just Thomas outrunning everybody.
Matthews picked up his second foul for the Bisons. Sims the catch and release, but there was a whistle prior to the shot. Another foul against Lipscomb, and this time it's Eli Pepper with his second.
Eli Pepper, his second team foul.
Trying to fight a little too aggressively over his screen.
Eli Pepper, the active leader in the A-Sun in rebounds, and the leading rebounder on the team. Just a little bit overzealous in that instance. Averages over 6 rebounds per game. Reed off the curl, had it swiped away. Kenny Cooper waits for reinforcements in the form of Marbury with the layup.
Yeah, a better decision that time, and Marbury going down the middle of the floor. And let's see if, early on in this game, Tom, they've had Thomas in the low post. This start of the second half, he's been more of a screener outside. See if they try to roll him back in.
Difficult shot from Reed. Caught iron, but would not fall. A couple of players hit the deck.
It's going to be a trip on Scar, I think.
Lipscomb shot just 38% of the first half. Their lowest output to 28.7 points. Lowest of the season. Scara picks up his second personal. Mitchell's out. Trap is in. Nine points for Trap on 4 of 6 shooting. Assuming a defensive posture at this end of the floor against the Lipscomb Bisons. Nashville, Tennessee. Roughly 240 miles separating the campuses. High off the glass and then missed from Matthews. Thomas against Marbury. Trying to work the size advantage. Fumbles it and loses it.
They gave a clear on, but Lipscomb coming with a late double team. Just another unforced error.
Reed.
So he felt good about taking that shot because of the hustle back down the other end by Thomas.
Matthews stepping into the 3 and hitting it.
Harrison Matthews for 3.
His first 3 of the game, now 1 of 8 from long distance from Matthews, highest volume 3-point shooter. The team is 1 of 8 from 3-point range.
Number 3.
Going to get Buckland on this one, his second personal.
Third team foul.
Yeah, Buckland right now is, he's just trying to be physical as he can with Reed. The referee's trying to clean that up.
Matthews now 1 of 5 from 3-point range. Sims had it knocked away, but a foul is called.
Foul on 22.
Pepper.
Eli Pepper.
That's his third.
Already 3 more team fouls, and Clemson will be shooting free throws in the bonus for the rest of the half.
Tigers 8 of 11 from the free throw line of the game. Sims on the drive. Matthews down the lane. Thomas came over, created contact, and fouled Matthews in a gesture of sportsmanship. Helps him back up to his feet.
Yeah, he's dinged up a little bit. He landed awkwardly on that play. He's a guy that actually it was a nice secondary break, putting the ball on the floor, and I think he stepped on a foot right there before he went up.
It's Trapp who picked up the foul.
Yeah, he's trying to walk it off a little bit right now.
Matthews 6 of 7 from the line. It was Matthews' three-point attempt that caused the scoring change at halftime. They reduced one of his threes to a two-point shot. So the halftime lead was 46-27 and a 19-point advantage at halftime for the Tigers, who have not lost. Well, that's held that halftime lead.
You know, I talked to Casey Alexander before the game that he wanted Garrison Matthews to be more aggressive and try to get to the free throw line, average between 8 or 10 free throw attempts a game. You can see he's still hobbling around right now.
So Matthews to the bench with 15 points. He's the leading scorer by far for the Bisons.
See if he gets it checked out, maybe gets it retaped before he comes back into the game.
Marquise Reed is 7 of 11 from the floor. Make it 7 of 12.
This game's still doable, Tom. I mean, it's 14 points with 16 minutes to go.
Jemison reaching in. Second personal.
And then, you know, you get a veteran team like Lipscomb, they're not going to go away. And Clemson's going to need a little. They're going to need another one of those runs to stretch out a lead. I'm curious to see how they respond to this.
Trying to work it low. Jemison picked up another foul. That's his third.
Foul on Trey Jemison, that's his third.
So Asajala will be at the free throw line for Lipscomb.
He's a different kind of player than Marbury. Much wider body. He just backs him into the lane. Nice spin and take. And this is, if Lipscomb can ugly this game up a little bit, slow it down, get to the free throw line, start knocking down some threes, taking care of the ball.
102 for Asajala, 83% from the line on the season for the freshman from Atlanta, Georgia. 10-2 run for the Bisons. Cooper off the turnover against two defenders. Whistle and foul as Trapp tried to get back.
Well, here's the look, and it's been a different Lipscomb team in this second half. Coming out much more aggressive, starting to eat into this lead.
Over the last 3 minutes and change, it's been a 12-2 run from the Lipscomb Bisons. They cut the lead to 11. So the Tigers are led by 19 at halftime. And Lipscomb 4 of 6 shooting in the second half, and they are one of the best teams in the mid-major classification in the United States.
Yeah, that was my pet peeve. Is our producer Eric Kimball knows that Gonzaga being considered a mid-major, but the Buffalo Bulls having a terrific season. And how about Furman spending some time in the top 25 this year?
And Belmont also from Nashville, Tennessee.
Perennially in that group.
By the way, in the NET rankings, the NCAA evaluation tool, the Bisons are 33rd. Tigers check in at 57th. Again, that's the new evaluation tool this season for the NCAA. Duke and Virginia occupy the top 2 spots in the NET. For 3, and a miss. Amir Sims. Clemson now 2 of 8 shooting in the second half. On the inside, comes to Reed. Leaves it for Mitchell. Hopping through the lane, doesn't get the bounce, but earns free throws.
Well, again, we'll talk about this kind of the lack of energy in the building today, and credit Lipscomb. They came out and a different team at the first 5 minutes of the second half. I thought Clemson came out a little flat.
Mitchell, 1,000-point scorer, started his career at Vanderbilt, 3rd year in the Clemson program. Gets the commemorative ball from head coach Brad Brownell. He's got 3 points, just 1 of 5 shooting so far from Mitchell.
And he's only been in under double figures 1 time this year, so he's been very, very consistent.
And an 80% free throw shooter for the Tigers. Cooper off the glass. Cooper's up to 7 points, averages almost 11 per game. Reed with a crossover by Buckland, and he'll spin it off the rim. 1 time around and out. A counterclockwise swirl up on that rim.
Yeah, I was just, for a guy like Reed, he gets it up there so softly, and you wonder how this one doesn't go in, especially at home.
Defying the laws of physics. The immutable laws of physics. Somehow that one did not roll in for Reed, who's got 16 points. Also has 5 rebounds. Tigers are in a game here in the second half after leading by 19 at halftime. Cooper.
Cooper, not only on the offensive end of the floor, but defensively, he's been a spark plug as well. And the last thing you want to do, Tom, is give a team hope. Clemson, Lipscomb looked, really down going into the halftime, and all of a sudden, new life out there. And this team is good enough to come back, and they're going to call an offensive foul on Elijah Thomas.
Second personal on Thomas. This is the closest score we've had, Mike, since Tigers led 29-20 in the first half.
We've talked to him, and there you see him. I mean, he's just clearly a moving screen. You've got to stay stationary, but he has not seen much time in the low block. He's been primarily playing outside and perimeter as a screener.
Marbury. Bison's doing most of this damage with Matthews on the bench. Marbury got it back for a fresh shot clock. They'll waste no time for 3. And the back iron from Rose. They get it back again.
The perimeter for Clemson not getting it done, rebounding long shots.
Buckland misses. Rose tried to keep it alive. He and Reed were going for that basketball, and it's Tiger ball. So 3 good looks on that possession for Casey Alexander's team.
Well, that's what happens when you get threes and you get long rebounds, and all of a sudden defenders lose contact with their guys and they're flying around, and just Bison's not able to take advantage of it.
Tigers just 1 for their last 7 field goal attempts.
You can knock down that 3 and make it a 5-point game.
We've gone over 4.5 minutes without a make until Skara hits the 3 from the corner.
Still, and Casey Alexander still trying to be positive with his group, saying, "Hey, we've gotten ourselves back in this ball game." But Skara, that was a huge lift emotionally for this team.
Like Thomas underneath and Marbury, Mike. A couple of quick ones for Elijah Thomas, and now he's got 3 personals. And immediately White comes to the scorer's table, but gets called back.
And through this stretch time, weren't we saying at like the 14 or 16-minute mark that it looked like Lipscomb was going to get in put Clemson at the free throw line in the bonus, and here they are shooting free throws. And this is one of the best free throw shooting teams in the country.
77% as a team at the top of the heap in the A-Sun from the free throw line. Matthews still trying to loosen up that ankle as he left the game.
Yeah, imagine he's not going to sit down. You know, he just try to keep his active and as much weight on it as he can.
15 of 22 from the line for Lipscomb.
But if you're Casey Alexander, why go back if you don't have to? You know, if they keep chipping away as your best player, you want to keep him healthy for, conference play. But unless you absolutely need him.
Tigers led by as many as 21 in the latter stages of the first half. Shot clock is down to 5 for Marquise Reed. Trying to shake Buckland. Slightly falling away, and it doesn't matter. He's ripping the ropes.
That was a tough shot. That's not the fault of Buckland. That's as good as you could play him defensively, but that was just a terrific jump shot.
Game high 18 points now from Marquise Reed. Sims against Marbury. Just catches a piece of the front rim. Tigers want to run with Reed. Three-pointer. Boy, it rattles out.
A couple of three-pointers are questionable by Clemson's bigs.
Stripped away by Reed. It's a 4-on-2 break. Scara has the ball, but an offensive foul is called as Sims tried to distribute.
Well, and what he did was he passed his that foul was not his fault. He was passed into that charge.
So the Bisons are back in this one, but trailing the Tigers. 57-44, Tigers in front of the Bisons, the first ever meeting on the basketball court between the two programs. Tigers just 4 of 12 from the floor as they built a 19-point halftime lead, and they've turned it over 5 times.
Well, that's the big difference. I mean, 16 turnovers in the first half alone for Lipscomb, only 2 in the second half, and that's the value of getting shots up on the rim. And plus, they're not giving breakaway easy layups up to Clemson. Tigers having to operate in the half court a lot more this half.
Bison's playing the most recent stretch without their scoring leader, Garrison Matthews. He's got 15 points in the game, but tweaked an ankle a few moments ago. Marbury in the paint.
They just have been able to knock shots down. The Tigers choosing not to double team him, so he's getting multiple dribbles inside because they want to stay at home with their perimeter shooters.
Buckland ties up Reed. Possession arrow is going to favor Lipscomb. A little bit of moisture on the court. Going to need to mop that up as Buckland and Reed went to the floor as Reed slid down to the painted area. Again, the Tigers have won 21 of their last 23 home games. And since the 2016-17 season, they are 20-2 in non-conference home games. So they built a formidable record here at Littlejohn Coliseum most recently. Tough shot from Marbury, well defended by Sims, who pulls down the board. Sixth rebound for Sims. Thought about 3, commits to it. Run down by Scara. Tigers now 5 of 16 from beyond the arc. To the midway point of the second half, and Reed misfires.
That's not this team's strength from behind the three-point line. They're getting outscored by their opponents by almost 40 over the course of the season. 40 makes.
Another turnover from the Bisons. That's 19 in the game.
And the shot clock never started.
The 19 turnovers, Mike, a season high for Lipscomb. Brad Brownell, 71 ACC wins in the regular season and tournament. That's the most in school history.
Hey, trails only Cliff Ellis in wins, and I don't think he'll ever be the singer that Cliff was, but tracking him down, and who knows, with that 6-year extension, should be right there.
Coach Ellis with 177 wins as the Clemson head coach. Best in school history. 2 trips to the NCAA tournament for Brad Brownell as the head coach of the Tigers, and 2 to the NIT, including the Sweet 16 last year for Clemson. Tigers one of 9 teams from the ACC to go to the NCAA tournament. Newman missed. Sims did not. Fouls on Rose, his third.
So look inside, and this again, we talk about long rebounds, but when you get those long shots that are short, great inside position that time by Sims.
First field goal of the game for Sims, who also has 7 rebounds. Pretty good free throw shooter as well, 78%, but that just his 10th attempt on the year. So Sims comes out.
This lead, you just wonder if you're going to see Garrison Matthews again, if Casey Alexander's going to risk that.
0 for their last 6 for the Bisons, make it 0 for their last 7 in a stretch of just over 3 minutes. Matthews is back to that Lipscomb bench area. Had gone to the dressing room for some treatment, but now he's coming into the ball game.
Casey Alexander looked at him, and Matthews was like, "Get me back on the floor." And he's a competitor. And I'm sure what happened, Tom, is that he just went back, got that ankle retaped a little bit tighter, try to keep the swelling from going down, and might as well get in here and try to make one last run.
Bisons had reduced the halftime lead to 9. So Matthews is back in. They had cut the lead to 52-43. 20 points now for Marquise Reed. Looking pretty good in his second game back from the knee injury. You see he's got the heavy bracing on the left knee, but 20 points. 7th time this season he's gone for 20 or more. He missed 3 games because of the knee injury. Skara got the board, but then traveled as he got bumped and hit the deck.
That'd be interesting to see. It might be if there's ever a good time to catch Duke at home. I don't know that the students will be back by January 5th, so it may not be the same Cameron that they're used to.
Moran makes a 3-pointer for the Bisons. His first entry to the box score.
Time for maybe just one more run here.
Skara may put an end to those thoughts with a chance at a 3-point play. And if he's able to make the free throw, Mike, it'll be the 3rd time Skara's done the 3-point play.
Yep, double figures for him.
Number 10, Jake Wolf checks in for the Bisons.
Rose got the foul. ACC All Access, your ticket to everything ACC hoops. During this busy basketball season, the Florida State women found time to give back. We'll show you how they volunteer in the community to help local children in and around Tallahassee. Check your local listings on your regional sports network.
I think that, the thing offensively for him, and he's been better the last 3 games or so. Blocked inside by Sims. But for Skara, he draws so much, he draws the tough assignment on the defensive end. He spends a lot of energy there. But Skara with 12 points, 4 rebounds, which is about what he's been averaging over the last 3. And I think, if they can keep that number there offensively, 12 to 14 points from him in conference.
Pepper knocks down a 3. He's got 6 points. So Moran and Pepper make 3-pointers number 2 and 3 in the game for the Bisons.
So this next media timeout, they get to stop here and score and then look at the next 4 minutes and try to get it under 7. The goal for this team.
Shot clock at 5 for Reed. Skara behind the line for 3. Newman runs it down. It was tipped by Sims.
See, those are the ones you have to come up with. You got a guy taking a long shot. You get a miss, and you've got to come up with the rebound.
Tigers call timeout.
The lead is 15 for Coach Brad Brownell and the Clemson Tigers. They call timeout with a 65-50 lead here in Clemson, South Carolina.
ACC College Hoops is brought to you by the official corporate champions of the ACC. Geico. New York Life. Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. Food Lion. And Toyota.
15-point advantage for the Tigers, who have led by as many as 21 in the course of our game this afternoon. Tom Wormy, Mike Jaminski, and our outstanding ACC College Hoops production crew with you from Littlejohn Coliseum. Lipscomb had cut the lead to 9 here in the second half. Marquise Reed is the leading scorer with 20 to lead everybody. Turnover Tigers. That's their 16th turnover. Moran.
Boy, he's come in and given them a huge lift off the bench. His second 3. We talked about usually Kenny Cooper is the one in running this team, but Moran, you come in and 38% from behind the arc. Cooper only 29.
Moran is a 1,000-point scorer.
Yep, good offensive foul.
Foul is on Elijah Thomas.
That's the second moving screen that he's had.
4th foul on Elijah Thomas.
It's official timeout.
Lipscomb hanging tough. 41 to go in our second half of the first ever meeting between the programs. Some concern on the fans of the faces inside Littlejohn Coliseum. Tomorrow, 1 Eastern, New Year's Eve. We've got more ACC College Hoops. Marshall against number 4, Virginia, which is second in the NET rankings. I'll be alongside Dan Bonner, a 1975 graduate of the University of Virginia. If Tony Bennett gets the win, it would be number 300 in his head coaching career.
Love watching Ty Jerome play. He's just, and I love watching that whole team, the connectivity on both ends of the floor. And it's the turnover at the worst time. Boy, Reed got bailed out on that call and coming back. I mean, it's a good call, but it's Moran just trying to make up for the turnover. Gets back and gets the foul. With great anticipation by Reed.
How about Reed? His free throw shooting percentage, Mike, as it stands right now for his career at Clemson, 86.5%.
Number 1.
Best in school history.
Yep.
They've been playing college basketball here in Clemson, South Carolina since 1911. And a charter member of the ACC back in 1953, the Clemson Tigers. That stops a 6-0 run by the Lipscomb Bisons. Lipscomb's made 4 threes in this half. Sims came over to challenge the attempt from Moran. Mitchell between the legs, dribble up and in. Shelton Mitchell.
This team, without Thomas on the floor, even though he's made some great hustle plays, a little smaller, they match up a little bit better, and also a little quicker, can run the floor. You talk about, free throw shooting too, Tom. Mitchell up over 80 as well. So you get your point guard and your off guard who are that good at the free throw line. That's a huge bonus at the end of the game.
7 points now for Shelton Mitchell. Inside of 6 minutes to go in regulation. Cooper reversing direction, halfway down and out. Mitchell hits Scarra, flashing to the basket.
Beautiful. And that's about your point guard. The timing and delivery of the pass is so key, and for Scarra to not be able to even have to dribble. Wow. The backboard is your friend sometimes. That was a bank 3.
Tigers have been on a 7-0 run. Immediate timeout with 5:29 to go in the game by the Lipscomb Bison, who had cut this lead to 9 earlier in the second half. David Scarra now has 14.
This is your point guard, just having an awareness of where guys are and nobody back. Scarra just hits the lane, doesn't even have to put it on the floor. Beautiful play.
Second straight game that Scarra has scored 14 points. At 14 in the win at South Carolina, where he went 4 of 8 from the floor. His career high is 17 points. He's a transfer from Valparaiso and went to the NIT championship game with that program in 2016. Decided to come back for another year in a Tiger uniform, and so far it looks like a great decision, Mike.
We said earlier in the broadcast that Brad Brownell thought he might just be a little homesick and made the decision. That was the one that surprised him the most. This is a very old veteran team. Grad students and seniors. Trapped.
Marbury. Sims on his hip. Marbury wins the fight.
Yeah, somehow, on that block, he loves going to his left hand. You've got to try to sit on that shoulder, make him come back. But we've seen him make some good spin moves inside.
13 points now for Marbury. Fleming's got the foul for Lipscomb in this instance. Second on Fleming. Both teams in the double bonus. First free throw attempts of the afternoon for Trapp.
He was good early. He gave the Tigers a nice lift in the first 8 minutes or so of this game, along with Reed.
67% from the line on the season for Clyde Trapp, sophomore from Eastover, South Carolina. His big performance this year came against the Citadel with 13 points. So with the free throw misses, he's stuck on 9 points. Fleming was driving. It's going to be Sims on the foul, Mike.
Yeah, just, you try to make up for it, and clearly, got there late. It was a good call. You know, look, in that situation, you almost want to, give up the layup and not stop the clock.
First free throw of the game for Fleming. He's only gone to the line 13 times this year. Junior from Nashville, Tennessee, gets them both.
Andrew Fleming makes both.
So Marbury's going to sub out. Pepper's in. 13 points for Marbury. Matthew leads the way with 18. So the Bisons continue to kind of hang around, trailing by 12. Lead was 19 at halftime for the Tigers. Skara stepping back.
Oh, what a big lift he's given them in the second half. But I don't know that you could expect this type of offense, every afternoon or every night. But certainly his scoring, I think, is going to be a big key.
17 points for Skara. Tried to get a piece of that shot from Fleming over the fingertips of Skara for 2. Skara averages, Mike, about 8.5 points per game, but he's got 17.
Stepped in a sideline.
He has tied his career high with those 17 for David Skara. Doing it in many different ways. We've seen him go to the basket, fill the lane, and step back and hit the 3. David Skara, his second 3 of the game. David Skara has tied his career high, Mike, with 17 points this afternoon.
Yeah, I've been very efficient in the both ends of the floor and getting steals, kind of leading the way that way. And he's guarded the best shooters that the Bisons have, and then also getting it done on the offensive end, knocking down the 3. Just a little stat for you to show you how good a defender he is, Tom. Last year, he held the guy that he guarded to over the course of the season at 27% field goal shooting. Well, that's one of the best numbers in the country.
And Skara, the subject of our Toyota Let's Go Places. Skara going to the rim and backing up for that most recent 3, his second of the game. Comes out to Trapp. Moran tried to pry it away from Trapp, couldn't do it. And now we're about to cross the 3-minute threshold. Time remaining in our second half.
And they will start to go. They're going to run some clock and probably set the screen, a high ball screen about the 10-second mark.
Tigers 9-3 on the season, 6-1 on their home court. They're at Littlejohn Coliseum. Mitchell with the shot clock winding down, hitting the 3, double digits, 10 points. Shelton Mitchell.
Yeah, perfect throw behind that time. They really locked in on Reed to try to keep him out of the lane, and he knew exactly where his backcourt mate was going to be.
12th time this season for Mitchell to get the double-digit scoring. Averages just over 14 per game. Knocked away by Trapp, who saved it. What a sequence defensively for Trapp. Trapp was looking for the tomahawk jam.
And it hit the shot clock in overhead.
Rattled the stanchion.
Yeah, they win this game, and I think he'll hear about that one from his teammates in the locker room afterwards. Just took off a little bit too far out.
Look, this view from right behind the backboard, punishing the rim, but
Moran actually making him miss the shot by stepping in, and he had to go a little sideways.
78-62. 2 minutes and change to go in regulation. Tigers looking for their 10th win of the season. After last year going 25-10. 11-7 in conference play, which is on the horizon Saturday at Duke as Skara picks up the foul. Third on Skara.
You know, and they talk about the regular season not being important, but in that conference, we talked about the highest seeded team left has home court advantage. That's a huge bonus. It wasn't for Florida Gulf Coast last year.
So 2 games on the road to get it started, and then hosting Virginia. Quite a start to that schedule.
You look down the schedule, though, but they have They don't have to go to Virginia. They don't have to go to Virginia Tech, and they don't have to go to North Carolina. So three of the top-tier teams, you get to play them here at home. Duke is the one that you have to play on the road. They don't get a return date with them.
Also number 10.
The 11 wins in ACC play, Mike, tied set a school record. And the 25 wins in total tied the school record.
And the other one we don't get to see, or the record we don't get to see this year, is Clemson at North Carolina. Let's see if that streak can come to an end after 3 centuries.
Haven't won at Duke since 1995. That's where they're headed on Saturday. Trap is headed to the rim. Calculates the angle in midair. Pepper pass. Sims went for the two-handed jam. And Trap went up to contest and picked up the foul. 4th on Trap.
There's the look and the twisting shot inside, and then it's clear that this young man has some athleticism.
Eli Pepper to shoot 2.
Trap picked up the foul, but does have 11 points. Scored 10 at South Carolina in the most recent game for the Tigers prior to today on December 22nd. Extended layoff for both teams prior to action today, and now 8 points for Pepper. Lipscomb hadn't played since the 21st of December when it beat Vermont in convincing fashion, 91-66.
Yeah, but you think about, all right, who benefits the most from that scenario? Clearly, Clemson did. It gives Marquise Reed a chance to get better, get some treatment. Thomas the same way with his ankle. So they were a little dinged up, and that break came at a good time for them.
So Reed at the free throw line. 23 points now for Reed. Elijah Thomas was not as successful from the floor. 12 points, 3 of 10 from the floor, Mike, but he looked strong.
And
he looked powerful underneath.
I thought there were stretches too, Tom, where he ran the floor very well. Whether chasing down a block shot or, getting out on the break.
So 24 points for Reed as that one will fall. Wolf with his first basket. Marquise Reed set his career high with 28 points in the game at Virginia Tech last season.
Well, I think you can look at this Lipscomb team, and they are much more like the team that played in the second half, clearly, than they were the team that played the first half. And they are going to be a factor in their conference for sure to keep everybody healthy.
Defending champs in the A-Sun. This is Reed. Clear path to the rim. And it's a rim bender for Marquise Reed.
The shot clock again didn't start.
.26 points for Marquise Reed. And just 2 shy of his career high. He's got over 1,500 career points in his combined time at Clemson, and also Robert Morris, where he was the Rookie of the Year in that conference in 2006.
How about 6 rebounds and 5 assists to go along with that as well?
Reed and Mitchell come out of the game for Brad Brownell. So his day is done. 26 points, 9 of 17 from the floor, a couple of threes.
This a good tune-up, and now let the fun and games begin. Love when conference play comes around.
Clemson lost at home against Duke last year in the only meeting between the programs. Tigers made it to the semifinals of the ACC tournament last year in Brooklyn, New York. They were a number 4 seed. We'll see what this year has in store. With just 10 seconds to go, it's going to be the 10th win of the season for the Clemson Tigers, who improved their record at home at Littlejohn Coliseum to 7-1. Final count, 84-67. Brad Brownell and the Clemson Tigers defeat the Lipscomb Bisons in the first ever meeting between the programs.
Yeah, time to go back to that first half. I mean, for the Bisons, 1 assist, 16 turnovers. You come out and you bury yourself, and that guy right there, David Scarr, had we talked about Reed, but Scarr was the second scorer and best defender.
Scarra had 17 points, 5 Tigers to double digits. Marquise Reed leads the way with 26 points. He also had 6 rebounds, and Sims had 8 rebounds to lead the way for Clemson. Don't forget, tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern on your regional sports network, it's Marshall against number 4 Virginia. For Mike Jaminski and our outstanding production crew, I'm Tom Wormy. So long from Clemson, South Carolina.